Welcome once again to High Desert Radio, the voice of the Jewish Federation of New Mexico. This Passover, leave the cooking and cleaning to Federation. Join us for the Jewish Federation of New Mexico's third annual Jane and Stephen Hochberg Community Seder of Northern New Mexico, Friday, March 30th at 6 p.m. at the Drury Plaza Hotel in beautiful Santa Fe. Tickets are $55 for adults, including a kosher-style Passover dinner, Seder, and wine, and $25 for children ages 6 to 12. Children 5 and under are free. Our Seder will once again be led by Dr. Sarah Koplik, Director of Hillel at the University of New Mexico, and Santa Fe's own Cantor Michael Linder. Reservations are required, so make yours today at jewishnewmexico.org or call us at 505-821-3214. That's 505-821-3214. Don't miss this special evening of celebration with new and old friends from across the Southwest. Don't miss the Jewish Federation of New Mexico's biggest night ever, a night of blue and white, celebrating 70 years of Israel and the Jewish Federation of New Mexico, Sunday evening, May 6th at Sandia Resort, featuring a live acoustic performance by Grammy-nominated recording artist Matisyahu. Tickets are $125 for adults, $60 for teens and children 17 and under. Enjoy silent and live auctions, a kosher-style dinner, wine for guests ages 21 and up, a full cash bar, and the highlight of the evening, an intimate concert by Matisyahu. Tickets are extremely limited, so purchase yours today at jewishnewmexico.org or by calling 505-821-3214. That's 505-821-3214. All proceeds from A Night of Blue and White will benefit the programs and activities of the Jewish Federation of New Mexico.
Welcome to High Desert Radio. My name is Zach Benjamin. I'm Executive Director of the Jewish Federation of New Mexico, and we are honored today to have as our guest Miss Melissa Lou Ellis, who is the currently reigning Miss New Mexico, America's National Miss New Mexico. So, Melissa, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here and clearing some time from your hectic schedule as the reigning Miss New Mexico to talk with us a little bit today.
Not a problem.
So we've been working together for a couple of years now. You've always been kind enough to volunteer your time for Federation, both before and during your reign. At UNM, I know you were heavily involved in Hillel, and you've been involved with APAC. So you're no stranger to the Jewish world. But I didn't realize, and I think many who've worked with you did not realize your interest and participation in the pageant world until you were crowned Miss New Mexico. So if you could maybe just take us through some of what that entailed. What was that process and kind of the journey that brought you to where you are today as the reigning Miss New Mexico?
Okay, well, it's actually a really funny story, Zach. My journey in the pageant world started to be pretty unique. It started by one of my best friends who's been competing in pageants since 2009. She asked me to compete years and years and years, and I always used school as a huge excuse, but really it was my lack of confidence. After I graduated from UNM in May, I finally felt comfortable enough with myself, and I knew that if I hadn't competed this year, I probably never would have. So I put myself out there, I signed up, and here I am.
Yeah, it's. I think your modesty is shining through, but I think it's probably a fairly rigorous process, right?
Definitely.
Were there take me through maybe first of all, how many days was the pageant itself, and what were some of the categories in which you had to show competency in order to actually win the title?
Okay, so basically what they do is when you sign up, you have to go through a phone interview with the pageant director, and they decide if you're a proper fit for the pageant and if you have a proper platform, or if, like I said, this pageant is right for you. So I went through the initial pageant interview with the director and got through the interview by using tricks that I learned from the business fraternity Delta Sigma Pi, which I'm a brother in, and also my father, who's been in business for many years and has taught me very well.
And we should mention that your dad, Steve, is sitting here in the room videoing and taking photographs, so we're very pleased to have him with us too.
So basically, after I found out that I was a good fit for the pageant, I went head first. And first day, you go through an interview process in front of judges. And I went through the interview process in front of judges. It's with a questionnaire that you've never seen before, and they just kind of cold read. You come up with an answer, and if they like it, then you advance to the next round. There's an on-stage question that you have to answer in front of the audience. There is a bathing suit portion, and there's also an evening gown. I had a wonderful experience. It was over 3 days, and I learned so much. And being a first-time pageant girl, I was very surprised to have beat out some of the seasoned girls that grew up doing this. And I think that that was really outstanding and very shocking to me and to very many people.
Sure. So, and this is, to clarify, this is what most of us would think of as the Miss America system. Is that correct?
It's actually the National Miss America system.
Okay.
So it's a branch of, I'm going to compete for the National Miss America pageant.
Great.
So, yeah.
Wow. So you came in as a rookie, first pageant, and before you know it, suddenly you're getting ready to compete for the National Miss America title.
Exactly.
That's really remarkable. And what makes this story even more remarkable and relevant to us and our audience is that you're the first ever Jewish Miss New Mexico.
Correct.
And I think most of us don't view the pageant world as a space where Jewish women typically thrive or even think to participate. And I did just a very little bit of research, and there've really only been, even though we don't know for sure because not everybody self-identifies, there've really only been a small handful of Jewish women ever to compete for Miss America. There was only one Jewish Miss America back in 1945, Bess Meyerson, who was proudly Jewish, who throughout the rest of her life used that title to help support and defend the Jewish people throughout her life and her various activities until her death just a few years ago. What does it mean to you to be blazing this trail for young Jewish women, not just in New Mexico, but truly, I think you are among a small handful of Jewish trailblazers. What does that mean to you?
First off, I know this is going to sound so cliche, but honestly, it's a huge honor. To me, this is more than just a crown and sash. It is hopefulness and perseverance. I hope this shows Jewish women in our community and in our nation that they can rise above challenges that they face and accomplish some really amazing and awesome things that no one would actually expect.
Well, I think it is unexpected and really refreshing to have a young Jewish woman in this space representing our community. Can you give us a little sense of your Jewish journey, how your Jewish experience and your Jewish identity, because I know you do identify strongly with your Judaism, have contributed to and really impacted your experience competing for this title and now reigning as Miss New Mexico. So I know there may be difficult to make connections there, but I do think there's probably your experience as Miss New Mexico has been informed by your Jewish experience.
Definitely.
And how have those things gone together for you?
Well, actually, my Jewish journey actually started out when I attended a Jewish day school. There were 65 kids in the entire school, grades 1st through 12th. I also attended Hebrew school, religious school, Jewish studies, anything you could think of, I did. When I reached 5th grade, I actually decided that I wanted to experience public school, and my parents were very supportive of the decision. I was in public school for 2 months when I started receiving swastikas and death threats. That's the first time I actually truly experienced anti-Semitism and hatred. I didn't let this stop me from being proud of my heritage, though, and the bullying unfortunately continued throughout college. Once again, unfortunately, the struggles didn't stop, and I truly felt like I didn't have anyone to turn to. There was a legal case that I brought to UNM that ended with the Department of Justice opening up an investigation. Because of that, I lost a lot of people who I thought were my friends. I finally decided to put myself out there a bit more and decided to join Hillel on campus. Because of the support from Hillel, I went on to be vice president of Lobos for Israel and president of the APAC campus cadre at UNM. I also became the vice president of Hillel at UNM. I still remain very active in the Jewish community as much as I possibly can here in New Mexico. My Jewish experience contributed to and impacted my experience competing for the title by making me realize that no matter what the judges threw at me, I could overcome and grow from it. Because of my amazing support system, be it my family or my Jewish community. I can also proudly say that my Jewish journey has led me to go to Israel this May on Birthright, and I can't wait to learn more about myself and my heritage.
Well, we're excited also that you're going to be making your first trip to Israel.
Thank
and
you.
We may have to have you back, hear some of your impressions once you return.
Definitely.
And I should also add for our listeners that you have been deeply supportive of the Jewish community since your crowning as Miss New Mexico.
Yes.
I know you're required to choose a number of charitable organizations to support and volunteer with and promote. And both our federation, Jewish Federation of New Mexico, and also the JCC are two of those organizations.
Yes.
You recently played a significant role in the JCC's Nosh Fest, and we're going to get in touch with you to talk about having a significant role in our upcoming Night of Blue and White with Mattis Yahoo. So
I'm very excited.
You'll be hearing from us on that. But going back to your journey, so you graduated in May from UNM.
I did.
And I understand that you have embarked on a career in film and television production.
Yes.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Update us on how your career is going and how your experiences as Miss New Mexico are impacting and hopefully enhancing your professional life as well.
Okay. Basically, I started off in the television and film industry in New Mexico back in 2009. I started working on Breaking Bad. That was my first production, and I learned so much. And I was still in high school at the time, and I knew that was what I wanted to do with my life. From Breaking Bad, I kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, and I decided to focus more on theater. I became a thespian in high school, and then I was in cheerleading and drama, of course, and dance, and I didn't know exactly how I wanted to continue in the film industry until I got to college. I actually double majored in film with a concentration in business logistics of film and a business degree in marketing. Unfortunately, right now, like many others in the entertainment industry, I was faced with some very tough decisions and some very interesting propositions. I have somewhat taken a hiatus from the New Mexico film industry, not by my own choice, but instead because I didn't agree to certain commands. I'm still very interested in film and still am aspiring to be a producer and eventually an Emmy winner. I just need to figure out how through a new avenue. I'm a huge advocate for women in film and not having to change who you are or what you wear to meet the expectations of others when they assume that someone should look a certain way. My experience as America's National Miss New Mexico has impacted my professional life immensely. I've been asked to make appearances on news stations, radio ads, and so much more. I'm forever grateful for these outstanding opportunities, especially because I'm only 22 years old. Getting to network and experience things that I'm truly passionate about is such a blessing.
And to expand on something that you mentioned about expectations with regard to how one should act, how one should look, appearance, and how one composes oneself. I think this next question, this last question, really, I'm going to split into two because I think there are two relevant questions that stem from that concept. So, one, what advice would you give to the parents of young girls and young Jewish girls specifically who are now thinking about their goals, their careers, and especially for those with ambitions in film, television, fashion, the pageant world, about navigating and sometimes having to ignore these evolving, often unfair American standards of success and beauty. And we're all impacted by it, whether we have a daughter or a mother or you yourself are involved in these activities. What advice would you give parents? Because I know my wife is we're about to have a little girl, and that's, thank you. And that's something that has crossed my mind as I've been preparing for this interview. And I think there are others out there with similar questions. Oh,
definitely. Well, first off, I'd like to start with the advice that I would give the Jewish girls. It would definitely be that no matter what life throws at you, be it anti-Semitism, bullying, anything, no matter what, you will overcome it and it will truly make you stronger. I know how cliche that sounds, but it is totally true. I truly found this to be true. And Rue McClanahan's Emmy speech actually resonated with me because she won an Emmy for her role as Blanche Devereaux on The Golden Girls. And it has always been my motivation because she quotes and says that every kick is a boost. So everything that has drawn you down or hurt you will end up making you stronger in the end. And I have definitely found this to be totally true because of everything that I have gone through, and karma is a wonderful thing. Also, no matter what you want to do it. The outcome may surprise you, and even if it doesn't work, at least you've learned a lesson and you got some experience instead of saying what if. And that is a huge thing for me because I never want to live my life saying what if. As for advice for parents, I suggest being a super strong support system no matter how outlandish your child's ideas may be. At one point, I actually wanted to be a race car driver, and my parents said that if I truly wanted to do this, that they would be completely supportive. But I would have to put myself into it completely. Of course, a week later, I decided I wanted to be a country music singer and so on. But my parents never stopped believing in me and supporting my insane ideas and aspirations. Regarding the negative beauty standards and how to ignore them, I would say you have to do just that. Ignore them. It's something that we all face, and I would definitely say to ignore it as hard as it may be. To this day, I still have self-confidence issues and definitely am faced with my fair share of self-consciousness. But at the end of the day, the right people love me for who I am, no matter what I weigh or what color hair I have. I suggest finding these people, be it one person or 20. These are the individuals that you truly want in your life, and those are the ones that truly care about your well-being and want what's best for you and will help you no matter what. That is truly beautiful, but unfortunately very rare. Figure out who you want to be as a person and what's important to you, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I think that's some great advice, and you hit on something that is, I think, deeply important and worth diving into, or at least repeating, in that failure is not the end outcome.
Exactly.
It is part of the process of succeeding. That's something that in this country, I think, unfortunately, part of our culture is to fear failure, or to look down on those who may have had goals and not succeeded for one reason or another. And I think that's an area where we fall short as a culture. And you look at Israel as an example of a culture where failure is part of the education process. You are not expected, once you've got a sense of your goals, to necessarily succeed the first, second, or third try. And there's even government grants for startups that are given with the understanding that the first try and the second try may not be the successful try or the instance where you'll have a successful outcome. And those funds are actually gifted. And the programs are structured in such a way that once a startup is successful, only then is there any expectations that the grants may be repaid to the government, and even then it's optional.
Exactly.
And I think that's a major difference between the, just the American kind of education and value system and the Israeli and Jewish value system, is that failure should be seen as part of our education, not how we're defined ourselves. So I think that's an astute observation on your part, and we appreciate it. Just real quick, one more question. You mentioned Rue McClanahan as one of your inspirations. What other individuals inspire you and have helped bring you to where you are?
I mean, this is going to sound so funny, but my favorite show is actually the 1980s show with the Golden Girls. So every one of those actresses has brought something into my life and has built who I am as a person, because ever since second grade, I've been watching that show. Actually, I mentioned that I wanted to be a producer. I want to produce a reboot of the Golden Girls. Be it the Susan Harris, the creator of the Golden Girls, was such an iconic woman for creating such a daring show in the 1980s to talk about such social issues. That is so inspiring to me. Estelle Getty and B. Arthur play mother and daughter on the show. They actually play Italians, but they're actually Jewish.
Yes, that's true. And
their stories, I mean, I love looking into their biographies and everything just because it's been so interesting and it's inspired me so much. Rue McClanahan's book, My First 5 Husbands, is actually one of my favorite books because it actually documents her entire journey, be it from the age of 8 all the way up until, unfortunately, her passing. I mean, Estelle Getty has gone through so much being a daughter of an immigrant family. She has definitely been a pioneer, not only in the Jewish community, but she's been a star in so many people's lives. Because, I mean, and the show to begin with has just been amazing and impacted me so hugely.
I think you're not alone in that. That Golden Girls was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. Similarly to Seinfeld, in certain ways, addressed issues that may have been difficult for
Definitely.
the public to digest, but were necessary. And also, it's a very Jewish show at
Yeah,
the end of the
course.
day. You know,
Of course.
the characters may not
Yes.
be outwardly Jewish, but just like Seinfeld, we're always trying to surmise which characters are Jewish. We know some are.
Right.
There's others like Mrs. Costanza,
Yes.
who we heavily suspect are based on Jewish themes, and
Of
it's the same
course.
with the Golden Girls. And I think that's a
Definitely.
wonderful piece of entertainment history to inspire you. Melissa Lou Ellis, the reigning Miss New Mexico, thank you for being with us here on
Thank
High
you.
Desert Radio. We appreciate you, and we hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for this edition of High Desert Radio. Thanks so much for listening. High Desert Radio is the voice of the Jewish Federation of New Mexico. Remember, in order for us to continue providing quality programs like High Desert Radio and to continue our work in service to Jewish seniors, Holocaust survivors, low-income families, children, young professionals, Israel, and more, the Jewish Federation of New Mexico relies entirely on the generosity of listeners like you. Make your contribution today to jewishnewmexico.org. Remember, you can subscribe to this series on iTunes, and be sure to visit us at jewishnewmexico.org. Till next time, for High Desert Radio, I'm David Wolf.